This is Before It Was Headlines, It Was Prophecy, with your host, Katie Elizabeth. I'm sorry I was still not in my studio. I thought I had the problem resolved, and I don't. So, back to the drawing board, which happens to be my desk. This is a rare time in which I'm going to discuss the enemy. And I'm not going to just discuss the little defeated demon that gets a lot of discussion at the local religious gatherings, because I found some very amazing information that I feel I must share. As there are many who spend what I consider to be an inordinate amount of time focused on the adversary and warfare, when the truth of the matter is this subject receives very low coverage in the New Testament. And I have some statistics here to back me. I'm not using the Hebrew scriptures in this comparison because there is no theocracy, no Torah-based theocracy at this time on the earth. Soon and very soon, I'm believing there will be, but for now there is not. Therefore, the claims of warmongering and all of that, and comparing what anyone is doing to what ancient Israel was led to do going into the Promised Land, or maintaining through the times of David and the kings, that doesn't apply to any nation on earth right now. Unfortunately, even Israel, because they've chosen a democracy. Although Yud-Heh-Vah-Heh will protect that land because of his covenant. But it doesn't have a thing to do with the governments that are enacting right now, or the claims made by those that are operating in the man-made laws. So, as I mentioned before, the riders on the four horses are released and controlled by the Lamb of God. So, as the events in the wake of their covering the earth, we've got to quit crediting the enemy for that. There's two things. One, they are on a mission, literally a mission from God, to cover the whole earth with what they've been released and purposed to do. But second, the current events and the calamity that is ensuing because of this, a lot of this is the choices of humanity, the works of the flesh. We've got to stop crediting the enemy. I've noticed something very interesting in regard to the rider on the white horse. And we have to be diligent in our discernment to know. Because really, man's lust for power is feeding the current events. But the rider on the white horse is not controlled by the lust of power of humanity. Yeshua referred to those in our own household would be our enemy or foe. The Revelation refers to the enemy as the accuser of the brethren. Which brings me to my point in discussing the rider on the red horse. Certainly there are religious extremists who are not peaceable. And we tend to categorize certain religions as being warmongering while fighting them. Do you see kind of the paradox here? I don't know that there was a more militant government at the time than ancient Rome. And Messiah did not tell his disciples to fight them. He didn't. So, the rider on the red horse is removing the peace. But that is on orders from above. And the fact that much of humanity is choosing to embrace hatred, confusion, and aggressive dissent, and even in the name of political correctness this is going on, it's just clear proof that man's wisdom is indeed foolishness in the eyes of our Creator before Yud-Heh-Vah-Heh. That's why he says that in Corinthians. That's why Paul penned that. Yud-Heh-Vah-Heh calls the wisdom of man foolishness. And we can see that. Before our very eyes, we can see that. And sadly, that lack of peace is happening even in the body as we all debate and discuss and argue. And, you put on any social media And oh my word, I mean, I've seen all kinds of things just in discussions of the high holy days. And it's about things that are not, I don't believe, of eternal consequence. You know, Yehovah was very specific in giving Moses the details of the size of the temple and, their journey, their path into that, and the order of conquest, all of that. Now, don't you think an all-knowing creator, knowing the humanity that he created, if the size of head coverings was an issue, don't you think he could have given us the measurements? But I see it discussed. If the length of skirts, the definition of modesty, there's a certain amount of that should clearly be, if we have the indwelling Holy Spirit, we should be able to discern what modest is. I'm not even going to get into that right now. What I'm saying is there's no reason to let that come into the body in the form of division. Just no reason. I know last year, as I'm establishing this, I'm not going to call it a community, but as I'm establishing a place of sustainability as the end of days unfold, I had somebody come to me and they were all interested, and I'm finding I'm not looking for followers. As a matter of fact, I sent a few people away not real happy with me because I don't want to compromise what I have heard. But it's over issues. All of the disagreements have been over either debt or entertainment and luxuries. Well, that's not a place I'm even going to enter into. And one person suggested strongly that, we need a swimming pool here. It's like, no, because I'm not going to be responsible for the big debate about modest swimwear. I think I have other things I'm supposed to be tending to, other priorities. Therefore, I'm just not getting into it. It's those kind of things. We have the choice to just not participate and fuel that fire. So that's what I'm really calling the body to do today. It's like, let's put fueling the fire. Let's put finding things. Because some of these discussions that I've read or the forums, and I could almost see 2,000 years ago just a group of Pharisees standing there saying, I believe his zigot is too long, too short, he's showing off, he's covering. I could see that with the head coverings for the women. I think she trimmed her hair, I've literally heard in churches that the women are, that believe in wearing their hair very long. I've literally heard that where then they preach against permanence because that breaks the hair off. Let's quit finding all those jots and tittles to argue about and get back to the actual instructions that are clear. Because I believe our Creator is smart enough that if he needed to add a few more basic measurements and instructions, he certainly could have. The rider on the black horse has clearly been released for economic upheaval. And we can go to the grocery store or the gas station and see. There's economic upheaval. As a matter of fact, yesterday I stopped at the store and I was amazed at what I discovered. First, the shelves, the grocery aisles have been moved back even further and are shortened up from the meat case further in the back. And the aisles are wider. So that means like one whole group of shelving is unaccounted for and gone. And when my granddaughter was shopping with me and we were noticing the lines in the floor and I was showing that to her, how they've reduced the inventory. And she said, why are they doing that? And I said, because people don't have as much money to spend. And as we were leaving, the young lady that was going to help me unload the cart, when she was talking about cutting their hours and everything, she said, we're all, everybody's getting so poor, they're just not making as much money, so we're all getting fewer hours. So, with that being said, keep that in mind next time you hear about the economic recovery or whatever. The greed or the love of money is at both ends of the continuum. I hear poor people talk about money just as much as wealthy people. I hear people that could have enough money that don't. It just, they just don't. It runs through their fingers. There is a love and insatiable, which is, there is that. That's the human response. Yudhevah still has solutions to this economic upheaval, but that's up to us to seek them. Hardworking people should not have to feed and support both ends of the economic scale. Yudhevah has made a way. He's given instructions in Torah for what the landowners are to do to let people work and to help the widows and the orphans. And those instructions are all there. We've just chosen to ignore them. The other thing is healthcare is huge in the body. The rider on the power horse. And the dependency upon it is so unnecessary. We serve a healer. Our Yudhevah, God Elohim, says, I am your healer. Exodus 15:26. You have to follow the instructions. Then on top of that, and I'm not saying we shouldn't reach out and help the sick. I mean, that was parables. Yeshua did that all the time. But it's our dependency upon the system. It's our own dependency upon the system as we reach out to help those. That's where we need to be cautious, because it's still a dependency. So rather than emphasize the warfaring and all of that, because I looked, the word love is mentioned, or beloved, or loveth, or all the term over 250 times. It wouldn't fit in my, when I brought it up in my Bible program. It was just over 250, top down. Peace is mentioned over 100 times in the New Testament. I told you earlier I'm only going by the New Testament in this, because we are not a nation according to the laws of Yudhevah. Love over 250 times. Peace over 100 times. I looked up war, battle, strife, betray, enemy, foe. All of those combined was just over 100 times in the entire New Testament. Whereas just the two words love and peace. Didn't even get to joy and rejoice and all those things. Just love and peace. Over 250 times, over 100 times. Over 6 negative words as opposite of those, just barely over 100. So we have the wonderful opportunity to be sharing that. And I'm not suggesting a kumbaya, compromising existence at all. I'm saying it's time we speak the truth in love, and let those who prefer the lie accuse us rather than us accusing and posting all of these thou shalt nots. If people are not seeking Yudhevah, they do not care what the thou shalt nots are. A lot of them don't care what the thou shalts are. But if we got focused on the thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself, and I'm not talking about embracing the things of the world, I'm saying just speak the truth in love, without accusation, because we already know the accusing of the brethren, the accusations are not going to be received in love. We know that. We can stand accused if we speak in love the truth. And I am learning you do live through it. Here is the truth. If everyone claiming to be a part of the body of the Messiah truly is, it's time to quit giving the accuser so much attention, or worse, doing his bidding. We do still have time to let our light shine. And as these end of days unfold, there will be those who are actually seeking the truth. We have the blessed privilege to know and to share that truth. This has been Before Its Headlines. It was Prophecy with Katie Elizabeth.